Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your WWE Clash of Champions featuring Roman Reigns preview and predictions. And John, can I just be the first to say, ooh, ah!
Ooh! Yeah, always good to get that out of the system. Brother, I gotta tell you, first of all, I'm in a great freaking mood. I'm with you. I'm with my scum squad. We're talking about Clash of Champions. But I gotta say, and I always love starting out preview predictions this way, my hype for this pay-per-view right now, my anticipation for this pay-per-view right now, if I'm really being honest, it's hovering anywhere from like that 5 to a 6 territory. So like that average to just slightly mediocre levels of above average. Because to me, this is a 2, potentially 3 match card. I feel like in comparison to Backlash, Clash of Champions should be kind of embarrassed because there are some moves and some matches on this card that have left me kind of perplexed, or I felt like should have done more, or I felt like should have gone different avenues. Clash of Champions, to me, has a lot to prove. See, I think Backlash did because it was the first big event of this split, after SummerSlam. Clash of Champions, it's kind of a retaliatory effort. Like, oh, we can't be bitched out by Backlash. And right now, as it stands, it looks like that they're going to be pretty severely. So, I mean, what are your thoughts about this show heading into it?
My anticipation for the show's at about a 2. I really just could not care less about this show. Actually, technically, I guess I could care less because it could be a 1, which I believe was where my WrestleMania 32 hype was at going into that show. But this show isn't looking that much better. And I mean, it's safe to say I was right about WrestleMania because it was a pretty garbage show from beginning to end. And they really were just desperate that having Shane McMahon jump off a cell would save the whole show, but it didn't. But this show really does kind of feel like, what is there to care about? There is a whole lot of stuff going on, but not a whole lot of anything that actually makes you care about it.
And you know what? I think you articulated my sentiments perfectly, brother. And if I'm being forthcoming with everybody and with you, it's funny because like an hour before I knew that we were going to convene here and do this, I really thought about the matches right on this card. And I thought about each one. And there are 2 that, for different reasons, really just got me kind of fired up. I don't want to say like enraged because I'm not angry, but I think you guys could anticipate at least 2 potential rants from me. So that's just really where Clash of Champions is at. Brother, let me just ask you this because I know your anticipation's low. Is there any match on this card that really rubs you the wrong way or may even like get you like angry if you marinate on too long?
I mean, like a match where a person is going after a championship that had to do literally nothing to earn it, and it's the same championship that's had about 4 contenders in a row where nobody did anything to earn their contention, and it's a feud that's been pushed as if it was a main event feud on one side and a mid-card feud on the other, exclusively because one of the guys is a personal favorite of the chairman of the company.
Oh, gee, I wonder what that match could be. That's a real head scratcher there,
Obviously,
partner.
TJ Perkins versus Brian Kendrick. Who told Brian Kendrick that he deserved a shot? It's not like he won a match or anything. Are you shitting me?
I know, right? What an absolute tool.
Everyone knows Triple H loves TJ Perkins. He's a part of the Breakfast Club, people. I mean, look at him. He's exactly what Vince McMahon wants in a top star.
Exactly. Look, I couldn't agree with you more, but I'll tell you what, it's clear that you and I have quite a few feelings about certain matches on this card, so I don't want to wait any longer, brother. Let's delve right into this.
To take just a little bit of a step back, because I know that we are going to get into a role and we are not going to be able to derail our amazing train of thought. But before we get into that, I want to tell everybody why we have the background that we currently have. Because to me, I made this background with something very specific in mind, and I thought that it was just so hilarious, and I really want to explain everything to you guys. So the reason that this is hilarious is because if you look at just the image, just the background image that we're working with right now, I am going to put the original image in the chat. And John, I don't know if you have this video pulled up and you can look in the chat, or if you would prefer I send it to you via our Google Hangouts chat. But I would like you to see this as well.
Okay.
What are you going to do? Do you want me to send it to you, or do you want to just go to the YouTube channel?
Google Hangouts would be fine. You could send it to me. That's worked out well in the past.
Okay. So this is the original image that I made our background from. And if you'll notice, first of all, there's one champion not being represented. And it's not like I chose an old out-of-date image from like 3 weeks ago. If you go to wwe.com/Clash of Champions, this is the main background image that pops up for this show, right?
Right.
So no TJ Perkins, first of all.
Yeah, which is a disgrace.
Exactly. And I really, just as far as Roman Reigns goes, I read on Reddit today that there was a guy who was tracking who was main eventing every episode of Raw and SmackDown since the brand split, right?
Right.
And if you think about it, since SummerSlam, there have been, I believe, 4 episodes of each.
Yeah, I think that's about right, partner.
Or no, there's been 5 episodes of each actually since SummerSlam. So you would think, knowing that the Universal Champion in the WWE has been Seth Rollins, or not even Seth Rollins, it was Finn Balor and Kevin Owens. Those have been the guys that have held the Universal title. And those 2 guys have combined for, I believe, a grand total of 4 main events out of 9 shows that have happened since the brand split. Meanwhile, Roman has main evented 8.
Wow. More demotion. Yeah, my ass.
Yeah. So the guy who is supposed to be having this epic, fighting from beneath redemption storyline has main evented 8 of the last 9 episodes of Raw. And all of those episodes are post-suspension Roman Reigns. So, and the great thing too is I believe Rusev was 4th or 5th on the list as well. So it's not like you can say, oh, well, Roman's main eventing because he and Rusev are the real main event, but that's not even the case because Rusev hasn't main evented as many shows as Roman.
Right. That's really disheartening, dude. Wow.
Yeah. And guess who has main evented the most shows since the brand split on SmackDown?
AJ Styles?
Oh, you were right the first time. The man
Wow.
who was the champion on that brand until 2 weeks ago was Dean Ambrose. And
Wow.
I believe it or not, that the second most main events on SmackDown is AJ Styles. So the 2 guys that have held the main championship on that brand have been in the main event more than anyone else. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like that's logical or something.
Who the hell would have ever thought? So, yeah, that's why, I felt like I had to put Roman on the background because let's be real, Roman Reigns is the real star of Raw. He is the guy
really
that they are pushing as the main actor, the main character on the WWE Monday Night Raw television show, Roman Reigns.
And bro, I always appreciate your thoroughness in investigating and putting things together and sources and all that. But even if we wanted to disregard all that, your point is still valid because you can't tell me that somebody isn't the star of the show when they're pursuing a mid-card title, yet they beat the world champion on the go-home show.
On the freaking go-home show. Now, granted, it wasn't a cage match. So it's not like it was a clean, straight up, I'm going to be the better man kind of win. And to be fair, Kevin Owens was crawling out of the cage. But at the end of the day, Roman defeated Owens despite the fact that he's going after a mid-card title while Owens is the main event champion.
And that's precisely my rub. Don't get me wrong. All of the caveats you put in there, totally valid, right? But what have I always said? A win is a win is a win. And it's going to read as Roman Reigns beat Kevin Owens, which should not be happening.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the list right now, and Roman Reigns has, as I said, main evented 8 of 9 Raws since the brand split. Owens and Rusev are tied in second place, 4 out of 9. So not only has Roman main evented the most shows since the brand split, he's doubled the next closest guy in main events since the brand split.
Wow. That's That's just pitiful to me.
You look on SmackDown, and Dean is still number 1, 8 out of 9. AJ Styles is so close behind him, though, at 7 out of 9. So it makes sense that somebody who was being built up to win the championship and then won the championship would be right behind the guy that went into the brand split as the champion.
Exactly. And that's why SmackDown, I feel like for the longest time, has been the superior brand. And it's so funny to me in hindsight when in the wake of the draft, we're like, oh, SmackDown's screwed. Oh, SmackDown was severely handicapped. In a lot of ways, they were. But man, have they maximized the utility of everything. And they have a logical structure to boot. Whereas Raw, it's like, okay, Roman, you got suspended, and now you got to face the consequences. You're going to be demoted. So you're going to main event virtually every show. But you're at least going to get pinned clean by a lot of people, so it evens out. What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Funny too, because like I said, on Raw, it's been the Roman show. On Raw, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different people who have appeared in one of 9 main events. Split. And then at the top it's Roman, and then Owens and Rusev are tied with 4 each, and then Rollins and Jericho are tied with 3 each, and then everyone else has had 1. On SmackDown, there are only 4 people who have only main evented 1 show. Dean Ambrose is at 8. AJ Styles is at 7. Dolph Ziggler and John Cena are tied for 3rd, which makes all the sense in the world because going into SummerSlam, what were the 2 main SmackDown feuds? Ambrose, Cena, and Styles Ziggler. Cena and Ziggler have the 3rd most main events tied. Ambrose. And then at 5 is Bray Wyatt. And then the 2-way tie at 6, hilariously enough, is Baron Corbin and Eric Rowan. I don't know. Where did Eric Rowan main eventing shows come from? I guess that's just like when he faced Orton and maybe one other time. I don't know.
Eric Rowan, I can tell you, if I had to guess with Dolph Ziggler and Dean Ambrose's feud, I think it was the Dolph Ziggler, Dean Ambrose, Bray Wyatt, Eric Rowan tag match. Because I think that tag match did happen. And that was probably the main event Eric Rowan had.
And here's the hilarious thing. Tied at 8 with 1 out of 9 each, The Miz, Apollo Crews, Alberto Del Rio, and the legend himself, James Ellsworth.
Yes! Man, that is a crazy breakdown. And really, like, putting all the criticisms of Roman personally aside, what kind of message does it send to the rest of your locker room when it's like, okay, this guy violated the wellness policy, but we're still going to keep him at top tier? Yeah, you know, to me, that just and I've always been against that kind of treatment of certain stars because I've always said, like, that will do nothing but diminish morale and tell everybody else, hey, you know, you still have to walk on eggshells precisely because you're not that guy. And that really sucks. So you ready? Yeah.
The wonderful thing is the Reddit user, I want to give credit where it's due, Narutoman Reigns. Wow, I botched that really hard. Narutoman Reigns is the name of the Reddit user. Spell Naruto and then man and then Reigns as in Roman Reigns' last name if you want to get to this post. A breakdown. 13 different superstars have main evented Raw, and that list includes Brock Lesnar, Triple H, and Randy Orton, who weren't even in matches when they did their appearances. Right. Meanwhile, on SmackDown, 11 different people have main evented SmackDown. So if you think about it, SmackDown's roster is 2/3 the size of Raw, so you would expect about 2/3 the number of superstars to have main evented. It's more than that. And if you really look at it, they've actually had more because Raw has had Brock Lesnar, Triple H, and Randy Orton technically appear in the main events of matches or of segments that were going on, but they didn't actually compete in main event matches. So those 3 guys, if you don't count them, SmackDown, despite having 1/3 fewer superstars on their roster, has actually had a more diverse main event scene.
Wow. Great job there, Raw. Great job. Unbelievable. So
yeah, and if you just look at how many people have main evented more than once, because even if you just say like, oh well, you know, James Ellsworth counting as a SmackDown main event is ridiculous. Okay, well then let's only look at people who have main evented more than once. Raw, 5 different people have main evented more than once. SmackDown, 7.
And that just says everything. It just shows that SmackDown, again, they're logical. They know how to use their roster. And Dean and AJ leading the pack, made perfect sense because Dean was the current world champion and now AJ's the world champion on that brand. Meanwhile, Kevin Owens, I think he only main evented between the Fatal 4-Way where he won the title and then the match he had with Sami Zayn the week after. But then after that, it seems like it's been all about Roman Reigns, even now leading up to Clash of Champions. And that's a huge problem. You know, that there's no proper psychology when it came to building this card, at least in the main event scene to me, compared to SmackDown, where the emphasis was always in one form or another on AJ and Ambrose leading up to Backlash. And, you know, I got to give kudos to SmackDown for that, especially when we've just done now this thorough comparison between them and Raw. It's disgraceful. Disgraceful.
It's ridiculous. But I'm glad we got to talk about all the current state of Raw compared to how well SmackDown's doing. But we need to talk about this show. That's what people are here for. The people want to hear what we think is going to happen on Clash of Champions. And I'll tell you what, people, we're going to deliver. So let's start things off with the pre-show match, which is hilarious because why do we need more than one of these? Nia Jax versus Alicia Fox.
You know,
by the way, another little Reddit knowledge tidbit. Did you know that a group of foxes is called a leash?
No, I did not know that. But the more you know.
So a leash of fox is actually a thing, and Alicia Fox is an even better thing.
Yeah, indeed it is. Thoughts on this match?
I don't care. Nia's winning. Who cares? Like, I love Alicia Fox, but I'm not going to make any bones about the idea that, oh, maybe she's going to. No, she's not going to frickin' win. It's Nia Jax. They're clearly building her to be something big, and that's it. She's winning.
And you echoed my sentiments perfectly. And yet, you know, you're almost like resignation, just saying like Nia's winning, which I completely understand why you have it, because that's just what the circumstances dictate. She's been a dominant monster. Alicia's nothing more than fodder. But it's so disheartening because if we're continuing to erect these differences between Raw and SmackDown, SmackDown is looking like, for no mercy, they're going to have two quality women's matches in terms of story. You've got the championship match, Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss. And possibly, I'm not going to say either here or there because it hasn't been confirmed yet, Carmella versus Nikki Bella in a no DQ match, which makes all the sense in the world given the interactions between these two women. Both of those matches have teeth. I'd say the women's match on Raw has teeth, although we'll talk about it when we get to it. But this match, though, it's purely fodder. It's a glorified squash match, and that's why it's taking place on the kickoff show. You know,
and the crazy, hilarious thing, too, is, like, this whole thing started because Nia Jax beat one of Alicia Fox's friends in a match. Like, you are a professional wrestler. This is the job you signed up for. And you need to understand that your friend did the exact same thing when they signed up to face Nia Jax. Nia defeating your friend isn't reason to get angry at Nia. That's just her doing her job. So this entire feud is based on Alicia Fox not understanding her own job.
And you know what?
For writing people.
And I would certainly agree with you. And I think framed in that way, the motivation already falters right out of the gate. And me personally, and yeah, you're probably going to hear a lot of fantasy booking from me, particularly on this card, because I do have quite a few grievances, more than I realized coming into this. I feel like you could have done something interesting because we're supposed to believe that Alicia Fox is crazy. I would have loved if Alicia Fox just kept coming at Nia Jax, you know, and wouldn't be put down. They squashed that real quick with their first match on Monday, which, by the way, why are we even doing this match again? Because the way Nia handled Alicia on Monday when she speared her through a barricade was a definitive exclamation point, I am better than you. Like, Ashton, come on now. If that's not asserting dominance, I don't know what is, dude. If somebody spears me through a barricade.
Here's the one thing I will say. As much as I don't think we need to have this match again, this is not necessarily an unheard of trope in pro wrestling where, you know, crazy psycho monster character breaks something on the outside that knocks both him or herself and his or her opponent out for the 10 count, and then they end up needing to have another match just to kind of make sure that we get a definitive winner, because that was a no contest.
See, but I think the thing here was, if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong because that Raw was several episodes ago, I feel like Nia Jax won by countout. Or if not, then maybe this match was a no contest because nothing could be rendered, in which case I can accept a rematch. Still, though, we both know what this is. Nia Jax is winning. Nothing more to be said.
Yeah. I think that the match just ended when Nia speared Fox through the barricade, so it was a no contest.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So we both obviously do agree Nia Jax is winning. Let's move on to the first and only non-champ. Oh no, you know what? It's not the only one, but the first and least relevant non-championship match on the main show: Sami Zayn versus Chris Jericho. I gotta ask, man, is there a reason this is happening beyond just these guys need something to do and Sami is loose? Well, heavily tied to Chris Jericho's kayfabe best friend.
Well, you adding the second criterion, I would say no. I mean, they did have a highlight reel segment where Jericho was talking up Kevin Owens, as you could imagine, saying, oh, Sami, you were the problem in that friendship. Me and Kevin aren't going to have those problems. It's almost like, I hate to get dark here, but it's almost like when an abusive guy gets on to a new woman and she looks at the old battered woman, she's like, I'm not going to be you. Not going to have those problems that you had. And just like what Jericho's trying to tell himself, oh, Kevin turned on you, but he cares about me. Ain't going to happen to me. It's hilarious. So, he's really down dressing Sami. But then Sami says, what happened to you? Me and guys like Kevin Owens, I think he may have mentioned Cesaro and other guys, we looked up to guys like you, Eddie Guerrero and others, the journeymen, the guys that went all over the world perfecting their craft. And you went from that to Kevin Owens' bitch. And then Jericho responded by hitting Sami Zayn in the face with a cell phone and then hitting a code breaker. And the reason I'm chuckling is I just now realized Chris Jericho's had a very contentious relationship with technology. He slams a cell phone in Sami Zayn's face. He nearly blinded Shawn Michaels with the Jeritron 9000. Yeah, it's a good time, I guess, for Chris. But that was
not
really
a contentious relationship, John. That's a good relationship. The contentious relationship is when other people get in the ring with Chris Jericho and technology.
There you go. There you go. But yeah, that really was the foundation for why we're here. And here's the thing. I got to give this match at least some credit. This match, and how can I put this? Because there was a term I wanted to use, but I'm not going to bother in case I don't use it correctly. But I think this match may be the type of match that sneaks up on us and really surprises us. I don't think a lot of people are thinking about this match, but you've got two quality workers here. You've got a guy in Jericho who I think is doing his best work since 2012 for me personally. Loving his heel work, loving, the catchphrase and everything. He just seems rejuvenated. He seems really into this run, and it shows. Sami Zayn, if I'm being sincere, obviously amazing babyface. People want to see him win. People want to get behind him. He has that likability about him. Two great forces to get in a ring. I think these two could have a really fun match. To me, this should be the opener because I think this match would set a great tone for the rest of the pay-per-view, and Clash of Champions would be smart, I think, to do it that way. As far as the winner, I'm just going to say Sami Zayn wins. I really don't see any reason why Jericho would win here because I don't really know what they want to do with him in the future. Whereas Sami Zayn, even if it's not next month or the month after that, I'd have to think eventually they're going to want to get him in there with Kevin Owens for the Universal Championship. So better just start building up his credibility now. So I'm going to say Sami Zayn for the win here.
Well, we disagree already because I think that Jericho and Zayn is a feud that the WWE is going to want to milk. And I think that Jericho is going to win by some kind of cheaty means, whether it's grabbing the tights or an eye poke into a code breaker or distracting the ref with a low blow or whatever. Jericho is going to win via cheating.
And hey, man, that's perfectly understandable given the Jericho character at present. We'll see what happens, but I could totally see your side of the argument as well.
All right. Well, the only other non-title match that actually does have title implications, we hope, Cesaro and Sheamus, the final in their best of 5 series. I haven't watched a single one of these matches since we stopped reviewing these shows.
Between the two of us, I think it is safe to say that I have been more attentive of the Raw product, which
absolutely, dude. You got to understand, Raw has gone from something that I watch every week to something that I watch during Monday Night Football commercials.
Right. And I am glad that I'm more attentive of the Raw product for videos like this. I'm just going to say this now, and this is where you're really going to see the cynic in me come out full force. Prepare to be screwed, guys, and I'm not even saying that Cesaro is losing. Let me qualify what I mean by that. They
You
have
think
been.
it's going to be a screwy finish, and they're going to go after the tag titles, huh?
No, but if they do, I might just drink bleach. So let's not take that option off the table because WWE.
Don't do that. No, please, John.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I need you here to watch this show, dude. If you peace out on me when this match happens, I am screwed when Roman Rusev comes on.
Oh, I have got an earful for that match, but we'll get to it. Why I'm saying we're screwed here, and let me just really be very specific. If you notice, and the one thing that's really kind of rubbed me the wrong way, the language has been so ambiguous with this series. A championship opportunity. And where I think we're going to get screwed, one of two ways. One, I definitely think it's going to be for the U.S. Championship, which is a fucking crock. Because the next feud coming out of Clash of Champions, in my mind, and this is going to be a spoiler for later on, but I think everybody would universally agree, so I don't care, to me should be Kevin Owens and Cesaro for the Universal Championship. They are a proven commodity on TV. They've had Raw matches that have been consistently great. And if you add the extra motivation of a title and give both guys equal mic time, that is a pay-per-view worthy feud for whatever Raw's next event is. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they've been saying championship opportunity.
Oh, no, I think it's Hell in a Cell, isn't it?
Is it Hell in a Cell? You're right. I think you're right.
I think it is, yeah.
They're going to screw us over by saying, oh, well, it is a championship opportunity, but the U.S. Championship. And that's why I can't really get invested in this. I want to be proven wrong.
Do you want to know if the SmackDown writer was writing all of WWE, do you know what he would do here?
What do you think he'd do here?
He would award the winner of this series a championship match with whatever championship they choose, and it would be Cesaro, and he would beat The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship and join SmackDown.
Hey, I can dig it, but unfortunately, those aren't our circumstances. What are our circumstances is, once again, and that's why I can't get invested in this, because originally when this series was announced, I'll be honest, I made the very naive mistake of being optimistic. I'm like, oh man, finally, this is like the platform they're going to use to get Cesaro in that main event conversation, you know, with the heel Universal Champion after, you know, whatever. That's not going to freaking happen. I've been given no reason to think otherwise. None. And it sucks because, you know, the TV matches these guys have had haven't been bad. But as we've already established in prior arguments, and especially Ashton here has been very vocal, Cesaro already beat Sheamus 2 times prior to this whole series. So
yeah,
Cesaro's
as far as I'm concerned, this series is over. Because when Cesaro beat Sheamus this past week on Raw, that was his 5th win out of 9 potential matches, which means there's no way Sheamus, even if she wins this coming match, Sheamus will have won the best of 7, 4-3, but Cesaro beat him twice before that, so really Cesaro is better than Sheamus 5-4.
Exactly. Here's the second point where I think we're all going to get screwed, and this is where it really gets gut-wrenching. I'm not even convinced that Cesaro's winning this. Because if I'm right...
Neither, dude. We're on the same page on that.
And where we really get royally fucked, I mean, I am bent over this wooden desk and the thrusts are just unforgiving, is if I am right and it's a U.S. Championship match. Because you know, Ashton, I said earlier in the year, I'd say maybe a month, maybe 2 months ago, I would love as a TV feud and, you know, a few pay-per-view matches, Cesaro, Roman Reigns. Because the one thing I'll never take away from Roman Reigns, I think when you give him a quality person to work with in the ring, the match is entertaining. I thoroughly enjoyed him and Kevin Owens, not their cage match, the match they had before that where Rusev returned and interfered. Thoroughly enjoyed that match. Thought it was great. I think him and Cesaro could put on barn burners. But of course, because this is Raw, they're going to say to themselves, oh, well, you know, Sheamus and Roman Reigns, when they feuded for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, that was great. I mean, we got tater tots out of that. So let's do it again for the U.S. Championship. And that's where I think it's going. I think Sheamus is going to win this. I've already kind of revealed my hand for the U.S. Championship, which I hope I'm wrong about that too. And then that's our next program. Everybody gets fucking boned, especially Cesaro, which, by the way, I know this has nothing to do with anything, but since it seems like we're just talking about whatever, I might as well. If you're going to screw the man over with this, please, and I'm going to say it publicly here, give the man new fucking music. I'm starting to feel bad for this man. I am really starting to feel bad for this man. You know what? I shouldn't even say starting because I felt bad for him the last few years. He comes to work. He gives 1,000%. I'm not saying he's the best on that roster, but like I have read in interviews where he's like, man, when I started seeing those Cesaro section signs, I knew I wanted to give 100% to them so they would not regret bringing those signs. So way to break my damn heart, Cesaro. They're like, holy shit, I have fanfare. I can't let these fans down. And you won't even give the man you're going to shit in his mouth like this. And if I'm wrong, I will celebrate. But if I'm right, you're going to shit in this man's mouth like this and not even give him new music. Fuck yourself so hard, WWE. So hard. So yeah, just to make a long story short here, Sheamus is going to fucking win, and it's really not going to matter for either guy, but Cesaro's still going to be stuck in that godforsaken mid-card hell that he should have gotten out of last year, 2 years ago, however long ago. So, Ashton, what do you think? Because now I'm really getting angry here, so you have the ball.
You know, in scenarios like this, where there's just a massive platter of ways that the WWE could fuck us over, I remember a wonderful Paul Heyman quote. He is going to give you anything you want except for the thing you want most. And what we want most is either A, Cesaro to SmackDown, or if we can't have that, Cesaro versus the main event champion. So we're not going to get either one of those. The next best thing the WWE might actually do as a consolation prize is Cesaro versus Rusev for the U.S. title. So I am picking Cesaro. And I guess it is kind of a spoiler that I will be picking Rusev as well then.
You know what, though, brother? I commend you because unlike me, I think even your prediction, even though it's still less than what Cesaro deserves, it's at least more optimistic than the route I went. And you know the really scary freaking thing? If we look at our loyal fans here, even Alex Foster, who is made of 50% amazing hair and 50% sunshine, I'm convinced, just said optimism has its limits, John, and that's coming from me. We're fucked. We're fucked. Oh my God, Sheamus is totally winning this, and I'm not even going to know what to say in live reactions because I feel like I've already said it here. So you're saying Cesaro, and I hope you're right. I'm saying Sheamus. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that if Cesaro wins, it's for the freaking Universal Championship, and we don't get dicked over. But I'm not that foolish. So
yeah, don't get your hopes up on that one, brother.
No, I'm not. I haven't ever since.
You might be able to afford. Just from a spiritual standpoint, from a getting kicked in the guts if you're wrong standpoint, you might be able to afford to get your hopes up for Cesaro to actually win on Sunday, but don't get your hopes up that it's going to be for the Universal title because I highly, highly doubt that's happening. If you want the honest to God truth, John, my fringe, like something that most people are never even going to think of, but I could see happening with this match is because it's the 7th match of a best for 7 series and we're going into it 3-3 all tied up. I could see these guys going to a double countout or a double pin even, Michaels Triple H style. And both of them win, so they get tagged up and they get to take on the tag team champions.
Fuck, that finish so hard.
I know. I'm telling you, though, it's again, the WWE thinks they're clever and they think, oh, our fans are never going to expect this. But at the end of the day, they spent too long wondering if they could, and they didn't stop to ask themselves if they should.
Do you, and this is the last thing I want to say about this match because there's still plenty of ranting to come, people. What would make me pop so hard I might actually cry tears of joy is if Cesaro wins, nothing said about the championship opportunity for the rest of the night, and we go most of Raw without mentioning it. We have Kevin Owens celebrating his triumph over Seth Rollins, having a self-congratulatory kind of thing, and Cesaro interrupts, and he looks at Mick and he says, hey, you said a championship opportunity. I'm saying I want an opportunity at that. And we solidify Cesaro Owens because it's time. How long are you going to keep Cesaro in this spot? And according to us, apparently, I mean, you are picking Cesaro in U.S. Championship. I don't even think you'll get that reward. Or the worst case, which you just espoused, Cesaro will be demoted again to the tag team division with Sheamus. I want to die. I want to die thinking about all this shit. This is awful. So let's move on. Please tell me.
Well, I have some potentially interesting news that I mean you might find interesting, or our fans might find interesting.
Okay.
Apparently, Cesaro's contract is coming up in October.
Ooh, that is interesting.
And the really hilarious thing is, I have actually heard that they gave him this best of 7 series as a way to try and, get in his favor and get him to resign, which to me is just the dumbest of shit because it's irrelevant.
Why don't you listen to him if you want to get? Oh my God, new music. He even said, I forget what country it was in. They were doing some live event and he had a match and he got a mic and the first thing he said was cut that stupid music off. Like he publicly insulted his own music. You want to get in his favor? Hey, Cesaro, I read in this interview you wanted new music. We got CFOs on it. You know, that's how you do it. What is his best? Oh my God, I hate them so much. I hate them so much. He should leave just out of spite and just go to Lucha Underground or someplace. Or go to Japan. He would do so well in Japan. He would do so
Japan and have 5-star matches with Shibata.
Shibata, Kenny Omega, anybody, anybody on there. So you know what, dude? I'm done talking about this match. We locked in our predictions. I'm Sheamus. You're Cesaro. I hope you're right. I hope this blows both of our expectations out of the water, but I highly, highly doubt it.
Just a warning, I might fall asleep during this match.
I don't even blame you. Why should you stay awake? What conceivable reason should you stay awake with the way they've treated this? I don't know. So, what next? What's the match we're going to talk about next?
I'm gonna base these 5 championship matches on what has been built up the most versus the least, not necessarily level of importance or anything like that. And I mean, by far the matches that has had the least amount of build coming into the show is TJ Perkins versus Brian Kendrick, because they've literally not even introduced TJ Perkins to the Raw audience.
Why? No, John, you've got plenty more to rant about. Pick which hills you die on. This match is going to be amazing if given time, and it's always that caveat.
That's the caveat, though. If given time, I am going to tell you right now, John, I don't think there's a chance in hell this match gets more than 12 minutes.
And you know what? You're probably right, dude. You're probably right. But here is the
you gotta
one.
Remember, the WWE is probably doing this whole cruiserweight thing because it's a WCW thing, and because we're far enough removed from WCW, and the WWE kind of went back and they were like, that cruiserweight stuff, obviously it's not going to main event, but that's really good for bringing in an international audience and getting the hardcore fans to stick around. So let's do that. Let's pull the trigger on a cruiserweight division. And guess what, by the way?
Yeah.
The biggest element of cruiserweights in WCW was that they put on amazing matches in very little time.
Right. Yeah, I read about that constantly. Whether it was Jericho, Guerrero, Malenko, they all said,
dude, I think the best 8-minute match I've ever seen in my entire life was Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero in WCW for the cruiserweight division.
Right. Yeah. So they're probably going to, call that in. And here's the thing. This was one of the 2 matches I was alluding to at the start of the hangout that I'm looking most forward to. These 2 guys are phenomenal. TJ Perkins owned that.
He's a robot.
He's a robot, yes. He owned that Cruiserweight Classic. And Brian Kendrick, I didn't think I could be any more of a fan of his, at least WWE-wise, with his The Brian Kendrick gimmick, which I absolutely loved, and I popped when he was a WWE champion in the Championship Scramble. Never forget, longest reigning WWE champion in Scramble history. But the work that he's done as this Brian Kendrick, as I'm 37 years old, and this is my last chance, Brian Kendrick.
The post-apocalyptic scavenger.
Exactly. I have best work of his WWE career easily. In fact, it's gotten to a point where, and I know this isn't going to happen, but as a fan, I'm telling you right now, I'm rooting for Brian Kendrick. I've got no ill will towards TJ Perkins, but Brian Kendrick cannot be denied. He has just been another level of genius for me. That said, TJ Perkins is obviously retaining. And I use obviously cautiously because I know what promotion we're talking about and where we are. But if you're at least not going to afford him the courtesy of having him show up on Raw when you're debuting your Cruiserweight division, which still defies all human logic, I'd at least think that TJ Perkins is going to succeed in his first formal title defense. So I'm picking TJ Perkins to retain.
Dude.
Oh, God.
Well, no, it's just I was coming into this thinking, obviously TJP is going to retain. He's just going to – this is really going to be more of an exhibition for him than anything. But now I'm thinking – who exactly does TJ Perkins defend the title against after this? Who are the heels in the Cruiserweight division on Raw?
Oh, God, I don't even know. Because of the people they have currently, I think with the exception of Kendrick, they're all faces, aren't they? Because Grand Metalik's a face. Cedric's a face. Swan's definitely a face. Yeah, I really don't even know. I'm trying to think of the other cruiserweights they may have signed that may not have shown up tonight, or not tonight on that Raw.
I mean, I think Ciampa and Gargano are going to be on Raw, but they're both faces now.
I don't know.
Has it been confirmed that Mustafa Ali was signed? Because I think he would be a good heel.
I thought that was confirmed, but I'm not entirely sure.
Arya Davari, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, I was big on him, but I don't even.
Oh no, didn't he get injured though? Isn't he hurt for a few months?
Oh, see, I didn't hear anything about that, but he might be. In which case, I mean, that sucks. But you know something though, Ashton, what the question you're posing about, like who else, and then I want to give it back to you so you can make your formal prediction. That does point to something that I've found quite troubling potentially about the cruiserweight division. I don't just want really great wrestlers for a certain sliver of the show. I do want characters in the cruiserweight division as well. I think that's another reason why I'm such a fan of Brian Kendrick. I think he does have more of a defined character than other cruiserweights, including the champion in TJ Perkins. And that's kind of problematic because what kind of a reign are you going to have if it's purely based on, okay, I wrestled this guy really well and won. Now I'm just going to wrestle that guy really well and hopefully win, and so on and so on and so forth. I think it's going to be kind of a narrative poverty in the cruiserweight division if we don't have more defined characters. And I hope that's something that gets remedied in the coming months.
I'm really curious to know who all is going to be in the division. I mean, we already know the 4 guys that were on Raw this past week. Plus, I mean, there really aren't a lot of heels. So, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to pick Brian Kendrick because there's just nobody else for Perkins to work with. And if they want to continue this feud, Kendrick has to get something up on Perkins.
And you know what, dude? I can respect that logic. I'm just my logic with TJ Perkins is it's the first title defense. He's so new. I think they made a big deal, with him winning the Cruiserweight Classic. I can't see them shooting themselves in the foot. But honestly, given that it's WWE and given the state of the Cruiserweight division, now that it's debuted and everything, I'd say your position is equally valid. And I will say this, the Kendrick character, because this is all about his last chance, and we saw the way he worked in the Cruiserweight Classic, he is going to be a desperate man. He is going to be a man that exploits every advantage. So it's very conceivable that he would have a very cheaty or questionable way of beating TJ Perkins. TJ Perkins may be the better wrestler in this match, but Brian Kendrick is just more shrewd, and that could very well be the difference. So I'm sticking. Beg pardon?
And more desperate.
And more desperate, exactly. So I'm sticking with Perkins, but I can totally see where you're coming from with the Brian Kendrick angle.
Yeah, I'm picking Kendrick exclusively because there's a massive plethora of babyface cruiserweights for him to work with. But if TJ Perkins wins this match, there really isn't anyone left for him to work with who's a heel and in the cruiserweight division. There just aren't that many heel cruiserweights. So Kendrick being like the one thing that you need to overcome as a cruiserweight, like the final boss of the cruiserweight division, makes the most sense to me.
And I will say this, too, to WWE's credit, as the Cruiserweight Classic was progressing, and, especially when Kendrick was eliminated, I realized the one match I really did want to see him in was him versus TJ Perkins, so I am glad we're going to be getting a Clash of Champions. We'll see. Honestly,
we might get it at Hell in a Cell, too.
And we just, if Kendrick wins, TJ Perkins, return match, all that good shit. So definitely, we'll see, dude. I'm definitely liking where you're coming from, though. So we'll see.
You might like where I'm coming from, but I'm not happy about the conclusions I've reached. Anyway, so let's talk about the next match then. The New Day versus The Club. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you, John. WWE's tag team division has become change the channel material for me. And it's not because of the New Day. It's because of everything else. Even Enzo and Cass have worn tired on me.
And you know what, dude? I'm so glad you said that, not because I'm glad that you're going through it, but because it makes me feel less bad about what I'm about to say. Okay, let me preface it by saying this. I want to take everybody on a magical journey to a time when there was possibility and hope. We all remember when Gallows and Anderson debuted.
That seems like so long ago, John.
I know. When Gallows and Anderson debuted and they viciously attacked the Usos, how pumped we were, how great that beatdown was. I'm going to be honest.
When they were actual badasses.
Yes. I'm going to be honest with everybody. I'm going to lay my cards on the table right now. Logically, because the New Day have already broken London and Kendrick's record and everything, you'd think it'd be time to drop the belts. Plus, Gallows and Anderson did win by DQ at SummerSlam. Here's my criticism. And again, I'm just being honest. Why do they deserve to win? Because to me, they haven't been an entertaining team.
You know
I'm
very
not
well
entertained.
that the WWE doesn't give a single shit about whether someone deserves to win or not.
Yes, and that's why I'm thankful every day that we're not WWE. Because Gallows and Anderson, I love these guys. I want them to succeed, but their work has been shit. That Old Day segment, dude, I'm actually shocked it didn't give me cancer. It was so fucking bad.
It was very carcinogenic. I'll give you that.
When I'm telling you an insulting piece of television was that Old Day segment. And honestly, that was the segment that made me say, you know what? Because I'll be honest too, I am starting to tire a little bit of the New Day's reign because it really has reached that point. Like, okay, drop the belts, let's get things moving. But
you know what, though, dude? I'm going to continue there because the only reason it feels that way is because they just don't have any legit contenders right now.
And I you know what? And I think that criticism is valid. I think it's valid. And another problem I have is even though I may be tiring of the New Day, the crowd doesn't seem to be. And if I had to guess, merch sales don't seem to be. So my thing is,
I'll look up merch sales.
While you're looking that up, I'll finish the statement that I wanted to make. Before I really thought about this card, I had every intention this morning of coming in here and saying, oh, Gallows and Anderson are going to win. But when I really started to marinate on this match, and this was one of the matches that made me angry, I'm like, why should they win? They haven't stood out. They haven't made the impact that I thought they would. I mean, granted, the stuff they did with AJ, with Roman Reigns and then John Cena, that was cool. But now that AJ's...
Dude, New Day has new merch.
New merch. And are they still performing strong overall?
I haven't looked at the best sellers yet. I just clicked on a link that would take me to WWE Shop in the t-shirt section, and it's sorted by new arrivals. And the very first thing on here is a brand New Day shirt that's got a unicorn on the front of it and a bunch of who on the front. And then on the back it says New Day, that's who. So they have a new freaking shirt. It's brand new. Like, hasn't even debuted on television yet. Gonna debut at the pay-per-view. They're totally retaining.
Yeah, dude, you know what? And that's what I was saying. When I was really thinking about this match, I thought to myself, one, why do Gallows and Anderson deserve to win when their segments have been crap? And I don't think they're the heat magnets that they could be. Maybe it's the effort they're putting into it. Maybe it's writing. Maybe it's a combination of both, which I'm inclined to believe. Two, New Day are still clearly over and still cash cows. And three, a better team needs to come along. And that's where your criticism is valid of me tiring of the New Day. It's not them. It's what they have to work with. So you know what? Gallows and Anderson, I hope they shape up. I hope the material they're given shapes up because I can't put it entirely on them either. And I hope they become the team that I wanted them to be when they viciously attacked the Usos. Because we've talked about missed opportunities every now and then. They are the epitome right now of a missed fucking opportunity to me. So you know what? Just out of spite alone, and this may be my John Defiance pick, I'm not even going to say it's grounded in crazy logic this time. Fuck it. New Day retains. Keep the belts on them. Yep. Why? What? Yeah, and that's just it. Gallows and Anderson to me.
I'll tell you why. Because Sheamus and Cesaro are the next contenders.
Brain tumor. Brain tumor.
But by the way, I can confirm that the New Day do have a shirt in the top 10 sales. They're number 7th in the full price shirts.
See? I mean, come on, guys. They're not going to give that shit up. Not yet. In fact, honestly, dude,
they are 12th among all t-shirts, but that also includes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shirts that are like $8 and under, whereas the other ones are all $22 or $25. So they are 7th among the full price t-shirts, which is really good. That's top 10.
And honestly, dude, like I was reading one preview predictions column from somebody today, and somebody even mused that the New Day might even break Demolition's record at this rate. If they keep up being this high, why the fuck not at this point? What tag team is really going to touch them? What tag team really even deserves to take those belts off them? And I wish I could say, oh, Gallows and Anderson, definitely. But just because you're the club and WWE is trying to really ride off of that value, it's not good enough anymore because you're not the club that I remember. And I'd hate to be like, oh, there, all this stuff. It used to be better this way. I hate to be that guy, but like, look at their New Japan stuff. They kicked ass. This is a fucking joke.
I just had a thought. Oh my
Yeah.
god, you're gonna kill me for this. I'm so sorry. What if, because the WWE will give you anything except the thing you want most, what is the one tag team feud that we want to see most on the main roster?
Wouldn't that be American Alpha Revival at this point? Because we're waiting for the Revival's
Yeah,
call up.
which means the Revival is gonna go to Raw. Totally.
You know what? You know what? I don't want to kill you for that because as much as that would piss me off because WWE you clearly don't watch NXT. The Revival
I'm
versus
totally right.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And you know what? The Revival versus New Day, though, I think that is a serviceable to potentially great feud. And I can tell you,
yeah.
and you know something else? And I hate to poke that bear. The Revival could do what Gallows and Anderson, shockingly enough, have failed to do, at least in my mind, and that's be legitimate heat magnets. With the way they work and the way they carry themselves.
Honestly, though, look at Anderson and Gallows and then look at the Revival and tell me the Revival don't just look like a smaller, less in shape version of Anderson and Gallows.
Yeah. And yet I feel like they're going to surpass them. That's the crazy thing. Oh, my God.
Oh, God. By the way, we had a question in chat, Draven G, asking who number one in merch sales is. Who you think? Enzo and Cass.
Which, great for them, right? Great for them. And if the Revival were to go to Raw and beat the New Day, that's an NXT feud that you could revisit. Enzo and Cass and the Revival, which, I mean, then finally you'd get your fucking tag division back on track.
I was just gonna say, then they can dislocate Cass's knee again.
Yes. His life is over.
I believe it was a sprained MCL, which is like the notch below torn MCL.
I still go back and listen to that tweet. Wow, to just hear my laughter and then you being aghast at my laughter. It's just amazing. But, dude, just to ask you, just to kind of round this out, it seemed like you're inclined to agree with me, and you do agree with me. New Day's
retaining dude, here? It's totally going to stay on New Day. Absolutely.
All right, man. I'm actually surprised that we agree, but pleasantly surprised. So good stuff.
I'll pleasantly surprise your face.
You always do. But yeah, what's the next match we're going to talk about here?
Oh my God. Well, the last three matches have all gotten relatively equal builds, so I'll just put them in the order that I think the WWE values them. Match number 5, Charlotte versus Sasha Banks versus Bayley, Women's Championship triple threat. And John, I'm going to tell you again, on Raw, the women's division has become change the channel television for me.
And I don't blame. See, this is where I wanted to go, surprisingly, into another rant. I honestly didn't plan to rant on this match. I love Sasha and Bayley. They're great. And Charlotte, I preferred her in NXT, but you know, when you give her these two women to work with, you know, her flaws are hidden fairly well. You cannot make the division all about these women. What about our undercard? Because that's where you have to give SmackDown Live credit. Like, they are looking like at No Mercy, they are going to have 2 legitimate women's matches on their card. Clash of Champions to me only has 1 because I get the purpose of Nia Alicia, but again, that match has no teeth. We know what it is. It's a squash match, plain and simple. And I'm just thinking, is all the Raw women's division going to be is that Charlotte feuds with Bayley, but then maybe Bayley feuds with Sasha, and then maybe Sasha feuds with Charlotte, and just like this whole thing back and forth? Now, I'm not saying I don't want those matches. I'm still thinking Sasha Bayley is going to be the Raw women's match at WrestleMania 33 this year. I'm still just, that's kind of one of my bank on it kind of things, no pun intended. But
John, I'm going to be so disappointed.
Dude, that's the story of my fucking life as a wrestling fan. I'm used to it. Disappoint me again. What's one more gonna do? But you know, like, you have an undercard there right now. To give not WWE credit, but you know, I guess to be fair is what I should say. I was gonna say Summer Rae. Apparently, she's been dealing with nagging injuries, which is why we haven't seen her. But when Summer Rae comes back, build her up. Emma, which I know everybody wants her to go on SmackDown, and I do too, because Emma Becky Force
gonna be on Raw.
But if she's gonna be on Raw, do fucking right by it and get her in the fucking mix. Because I have no problem.
You telling Raw to do right by anything is like me screaming at my dog. Why don't you teach me Japanese?
I know, okay? I know it's an exercise in futility, but what else do I have? What else stops me from jumping out my window right now?
Your dignity.
No, I have no dignity because I'm still watching this damn product. And very few people are keeping my attention, by the way. I can't wait to actually talk about the other match that I'm really anticipating, but we're still a little ways away from that. But yeah, like, I have no problem with these women, save for Charlotte. And even then, it's like, okay, she can have her bright spots. But
all three of them have just been so bad on the mic over the last month.
You really, because I feel like Sasha's
all
still
three
maintained.
of them, dude. Bayley, like, the thing is with Bayley, I could handle her in NXT because they always only used her in small doses on the mic. And when she did have to cut a serious promo, she had time to rehearse it. She had time to get it down. And even then, it was still usually below replacement. Like, she was still not great on the mic. Now on Raw, she's coming out there trying to, recite lines that she just got 20 minutes ago because Raw has constant goddamn rewrites. And it's just, she's not good at talking, period. They need to protect her more. But Raw looking at something and saying, we could probably protect this would be like SmackDown looking at something and say, hey, we could probably ruin this.
I love that tone too. Like, they're so gung-ho. Like, hey, we could really ruin this, man. Let's do it. Like, let's get together and do it.
Let's pull a Raw. That's what SmackDown sees ruining things as, is pulling a Raw. Raw has become an adjective.
Oh my god. But dude, to be fair though, I don't think Sasha's mic skills have diminished
No, they have. Dude, did you not hear her on her way to the ring the other week talking about WWE and don't mess with Mia? What the hell is she doing?
Dude, I honestly didn't hear that, to be fair. To defend myself, I did not know
Oh my
that.
god. You didn't hear her promo on the way to the ring while Mick Foley and Charlotte were already in the ring.
Was it like a Triple H tick? Because that's kind of what it sounds like.
No, it wasn't like a it was straight up like she just said Mia. Like she was talking to a woman whose name is spelled M-I-A.
Okay. Yeah, I must have missed that, to be honest. That is pretty awkward. And we don't even need to talk about Charlotte, do we? You know what? I'm just going to put this match out of its misery.
Dude.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but like, I don't even, oh God. I got to tell you, man, I've been a big fan of Sasha Banks, but her work on the mic over the last month has been embarrassing. And Bayley, I've always kind of seen as a poor mic worker, and the last month has confirmed that. And Charlotte, everything that there is to say about how awful Charlotte is at everything, I feel like has already been said on this show at one point or another, and even over the last, 45 days or so. So I'm not even going to repeat it. Go into the archive and find it yourself. But Charlotte is literally the worst on Raw because literally the worst on SmackDown is already reserved for Natalya.
Every time, even when it seems like she's not in proximity, we will get Natalya every time. I love it. Oh, we're so committed. I'm just gonna put this match out of its misery. I think Charlotte's gonna retain because if the theme of Clash of Champions is bend over, open up, baby, here it comes, Charlotte is gonna retain, and Dana Brooke of all people is gonna end that fucking run. So Charlotte to retain the championship.
That's exactly why I was telling you earlier that you were going to be so disappointed in the WrestleMania women's match, because that's what it's going to be.
Oh, you think they're going to build all of this up to Mania, and they're going to give Dana fucking Brooke a WrestleMania moment?
Yep.
Cyanide never sounded more delicious. Who are you picking to win this match?
Dana, Alex, Riley, Brooke.
She's not in this though. You have Charlotte, Sasha, Bayley.
I was just saying, Dana Brooke's new nickname is Alex Riley. She is literally a female Alex Riley. Why? Because she's got a great look and a little charisma, but she has a weird way of talking, and she can't work in the ring worth a shit. And she's getting extremely over as a babyface because she's working with somebody who's universally loathed by the WWE universe, and they're going to use that to try and create a babyface, but she doesn't have the ability to pull it off, so it's going to fall flat on its face. Exactly like what happened with Alex Riley and The Miz.
Yeah. You're not even wrong. And, the more we go through this card, the more I'm really questioning my choices to stick it out.
Now you know why I was at a 2, brother.
Yeah, so wait a minute, though. In the midst of all that truth, I'm assuming that you're picking Charlotte to retain as well?
No, I'm not even picking Charlotte to retain. That's the bad thing.
What?
I'm picking Bayley to win.
You know what, dude? I could fight it. I barely even have a will to live after that, let alone fight it. So you know what? Put the women's championship on Bayley. And that's another thing, too. I've kind of hated the booking of Bayley since she's come up to the main roster. Because
yeah, she's dude. Progress that she made in NXT and finally finding her lady balls when she had her feud with Asuka has gone out completely out the window. She has now reverted not only to pre-Asuka feud, but she's reverted all the way back to when Dusty Rhodes was still alive and she was his little buddy in his office when he was still the booker of NXT and she talked like an autist.
So what you're saying is, in more general terms, Bayley went from her final form back to her first form. That's quite a reversion to make.
You mean worst form, am I right?
Yes. Yes, you are. But that wasn't even like my central complaint, although it doesn't make it any less true. I don't like that she's getting a championship match this early. Now, that may seem like a petty criticism, but I really felt like Bayley was going to find her strength in being that babyface that really struggles. To have her in the mix already, which just shows you the state of the Raw Women's Division on the whole, I don't know. It rubs me the wrong way. And, I mean, you know what, though? I've really got no ground with which to contend you saying that Bayley's going to win. My only logic is Charlotte, is probably going to pin Bayley. That's the funny thing. I see her pinning Bayley. Maybe Sasha gets a one-on-one match at Hell in a Cell, so we formally get that rematch out of the way. But Charlotte will retain there because, again, the end game is Dana Brooke. And you're taking that end game all the way to WrestleMania, which, again, really questioning a lot of things. But, yeah, so you're picking Bayley.
Here's what I foresee happening with the women's division, all right?
All right.
The reason I'm picking Bayley to win this match is because it is going to piss Sasha Banks off to the point that she turns on Bayley. So it's going to be Sasha turning on Bayley while Charlotte turns on Dana Brooke. And because the WWE thinks that all these women are fluid and that it doesn't matter that they have histories with each other, we're going to end up with Dana Brooke and Bayley versus Charlotte and Sasha Banks tag team matches for a couple months. And it's going to lead to Sasha beating Bayley for the title. And then, and only then, will Dana Brooke beat Sasha Banks for the title at WrestleMania.
I hate you. I hate you because you're not even wrong. Oh, God. Can we just move on, please? I have nothing else to say about this match, and I just want to go.
Yeah, John, we can move on because up next is Rusev versus Roman Reigns.
Can I go first on this one? Because I actually have a huge criticism I want to levy at this match.
Dude, the door is open for you to go first whenever you want.
Here's my biggest criticism of this match, because I feel like you detailed, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I feel like that, like, not necessarily the second biggest criticism, but the more obvious one. It's Roman Reigns. He's been featured way too prominently for a quote-unquote demotion, what have you. Here's my problem, narrowing very much on the match itself. I want to say why and just be an asshole, but more specifically, why is this just a standard one-on-one match? Now, here's my logic, right? Because I put more thought into this than I should have before we came on here, because I wanted to make sure that I argued this properly so that nobody would laugh at me, even in private, because I can see it coming. But here's my thing, right? You, me, and everybody, since this brand split, wrestling commonly relies on suspension of disbelief. That suspension of disbelief now has taken the point where you, me, and everybody, right, are supposed to believe that Raw and SmackDown are competing against each other. So, by that logic, you want the best cards possible. Now, SummerSlam, it's huge kayfabe-wise because you're sharing a pay-per-view card. You can't look bad. And Raw, to me, looked bad because they promised a U.S. Championship match in kayfabe. Didn't even happen because it was a brawl in which Rusev got the shit beat out of him.
3 of the 4 main event matches on SummerSlam were Raw matches. Randy Orton versus Brock Lesnar was promoted more on Raw. You also had the Universal title, Seth and Roman? No, Seth and Finn. That was my bad. And then you also had this match, the U.S. title. And this ended up being the semi-main event, but it didn't even end up being a match.
And continuing on my kayfabe line of thought, which is why I'm angry about this match existing the way it currently does, If I'm Mick Foley, because he's ready to give Seth Rollins shit for disobeying orders, I would tear these guys a new one. It's SummerSlam. I'm up at bat. You're the semi-main, and you don't even have a match. That makes me look like shit because SmackDown delivered on all of its matches, whether you like them or not. You got full matches bell to bell. So, to avoid a repeat for Clash of Champions, your first standalone show in which you have to answer to Backlash, which on the whole has gotten positive reviews from what I've seen. Even the more cynical fans are like, you know what? This had enough good moments that I'd give it a pass and you should at least check it out. Clash of Champions is a lot to live up to. So to ensure that you actually use the hatred these two guys have for each other to your advantage, why not make this a new DQ match? Why not make this something? By making it a one-on-one match, what is stopping me? And again, maybe my logic is flawed, but what's stopping me from thinking this match is just going to get thrown out again? It's so fucking stupid. Like, you saw SummerSlam. You saw that these two just brawled. What's going to stop Roman Reigns, or Rusev for that matter, who has champion's advantage, which I don't understand that either in this match. Like, why would you give him that protection, that out? Are we ever going to see these guys really compete? Oh, wait, we did on that Raw where Roman Reigns won, so Lana's honor apparently meant shit. It makes me angry, and it makes me angry because through it all, again, I think these guys could have a good match, and I have been loving Rusev lately. Say what you will about all of this shit, and it's all valid. Rusev, I think, is one of the real victims here because he has put his back into this and he has done quality work. And I think he's going to be one of those guys that will be consistently overlooked, even as a challenger for the Universal Championship, let alone a champion. And that's pretty goddamn sad. But now that I've complained about this match not having a stip, because to me it makes no storyline sense when these guys clearly hate each other. They clearly just inflicting violence, all that stuff, and you're not even going to bother to contain it. Probably thinking to yourself, well, John, who's going to win? Roman fucking Reigns. I hope Rusev retains. I do. But if
and just to be clear, I am officially predicting Rusev to retain, as I did say earlier on in the show.
And you know what? Yes. And it's funny because we related back to Cesaro Sheamus. I am the cynical prick that's probably just I've looked more at my window in this preview predictions than I have in recent memory, and I'm just thinking to myself, the fall isn't that steep. And I'm thinking Sheamus is going to win.
First floor?
Yeah, exactly. So at most, maybe I could sprain something if I fall awkwardly. My thought is Sheamus is going to win because fuck Cesaro's fan support and the idea that the guy works hard and cares about what he does. Not saying Sheamus doesn't, but I mean, come on, people want Cesaro. That's undeniable. We're just going to do Sheamus, Roman Reigns, U.S. Championship. And I don't even care. So, you know what? Roman Reigns to win. This match makes no sense not having a stip. I feel bad for Rusev because you even said when I was asking if any matches made you angry, 4 contenders just step up and they get it for no freaking reason. And he's doing quality work as the champion, and yet he has no quality challengers to show for it. Rusev got robbed. Cesaro's going to get robbed if my cynicism, plays out, which I'm hoping it doesn't, obviously. And Roman Reigns reigns supreme again. Fuck all that, man. So that's my prediction.
Hashtag Cena wins. Hashtag Roman Reigns.
Oh, God. I want to be visceral, but I can't. I have nothing left. Raw just destroyed me.
You just lost all will to live.
Yeah, that's it. You can literally just do all the Roman Reigns. Hey John. Yes. What time is it? God, please don't do this to me. What time is it, please?
It's Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns. Oh God! And then I cry, and I drown in my tears, which is still a better thing to watch unfold.
Do you not like Roman Reigns?
And that is the worst of it, because to a degree, I do like Roman Reigns. It comes back to what you and I have been saying forever now.
Oh, John, do you not like the way Roman Reigns' character has been written?
Exactly. I was trying to even think of a good thing, like, oh, does a bear shit in the woods or something like that? I am so disoriented with how bad everything is that I can't even do that. So I'm just going to say yes. I hate how he's written, because
guess what, John?
Yeah. So does everyone else. Oh, motherfucker! And you're not even wrong. So you are picking.
catch on to that. I can't believe I actually had to go through with it. I thought you'd catch on before.
That's just how much will I've lost. And I am the guy that always loves saying at every opportunity, it's irrelevant. But where's the love? I've lost my smile, people. I've lost my smile. I'll get it back, though, next segment. But just to solidify, you are picking Rusev.
Yep, I'm picking Rusev just because I don't even actually think he's gonna like win. He might scrape by. Maybe he like gets disqualified and Roman wins by DQ, but then Roman is more interested in the Universal title, so he doesn't even try to cash in his rematch potential, and just
Yeah, it's a pretty bad situation all around, but hopefully Rusev wins, Cesaro wins the series, Cesaro leaps over Rusev to the Universal Champion, and Rusev finds something actually worth his fucking time to do. So we'll see how much of that pans out, and by see how much, I mean get prepared for absolutely none of it to pan out.
So
all right,
Roman and Rusev, man, that's that.
Yeah,
but wait, there's more, because Seth Rollins is challenging Kevin Owens for the Universal title, and this match is like the only match on the card John cares about other than the Cruiserweight Championship, but not even I care about this match because I don't give a shit who wins.
Here's my thing, if I'm just being, very forthcoming. I'm looking forward to this match for two reasons, and they're a bit distinct from each other, which is the good news. One, obviously, I'm a huge fan of both of these guys. And I will say, too, I want to thank the Hearts for being such assholes, because realizing how fiercely I was defending Seth, it just made me fall in love with him all over again. And I've really been loving his work as a babyface, and I want to say more about that in a second. I think he's been doing nice in the transition. You see him becoming more and more of a babyface each week leading up to the show. And Kevin Owens, well, he's Kevin fucking Owens. Second thing that I like, we all know, well, I shouldn't say that. I should say it's a common belief for most of us. Kevin Owens is retaining, most likely by a Triple H screw job again. Why I'm still looking forward to this main event, in spite of that, this is the first really big test in my mind for Seth Rollins as a babyface. He's in the main event of a network special. It's with the world champion. I don't know where Clash of Champions is taking place, but if they can work a match, where the crowd is salivating for Seth to win, which given how Seth has been kind of, tweaking his offense, incorporating more high-flying stuff, and how Kevin Owens works with more, headlock master, trash-talking, I think they can pull it off. If Triple H comes in and he pedigrees Seth or what have you to raucous boos, that to me is a match well done. Do I think this match is going to be better than Dean Ambrose, AJ Styles? Honestly, I don't know. I don't want to say a definitive yes or no. It's a lot to live up to because I thought that main event was stellar. But what I'm really looking for here, to put it just very simply, this is going to be a barometer to me of how well Seth is really going to be long-term as a babyface. Because the one thing that this show should accomplish even more than just further establishing the Universal Championship is getting people hyped for the Seth Rollins Triple H feud, because, folks, take a deep seat, because that's going to be one of the defining programs of the season. That is going to be a WrestleMania 33 match, I'm convinced. As much as I love my own fantasy booking of Seth winning the Rumble, giving a middle finger to the Authority, and going to SmackDown, thus further bolstering its claim as the best WWE product right now, I think Seth is going to stand his ground, be like, no, this is my show, screw you guys, and face Triple H. So this program needs to work. And this main event, I think, is going to reveal a lot about the direction of Seth as a babyface and these main event feuds going forward. So that's really where my two interests come from. But absolutely Kevin Owens to retain, hopefully after a great and compelling Universal Championship match. So that's all I want to say about that.
So you think Owens is retaining?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. I thought you were like, so are you sure Owens is retaining? Yes. Well,
no, I was like, what's your pick so that I know what to not pick?
Exactly. Let me tell you why you're wrong in convincing fashion. Oh, man.
I could do that, though. I could. If I really wanted to, I could totally construct an argument for Seth winning.
I mean, you really probably could, and given
really
where my will
come back to Triple H wanting to be back in the world title picture.
He comes in, he pedigrees Seth, he pedigrees Kevin Owens, and he's like, see, Seth, it was a double swerve. First I pedigreed you, lulling Kevin into a false sense of security, and now I've gotten you back to where you belong as the man. Cue Seth Rollins cackle, we go off the air.
Dude, you might have the worst Triple H impression I've ever heard. That didn't sound anything like him.
Dude, I wasn't even putting my back into that, but regardless, in WWE's world, I could see Seth winning the championship. I don't know, but I'm just looking forward to this main event regardless. I think it's going to be stellar, and I'm really excited for these two to lock it up. So,
yeah, Owens wins. Do you want to know why I don't care about this match, John?
Well, mainly because the Raw product on the whole's been grabbed, so it's just kind of collateral damage.
I mean, that as well, but do you want to know also why I don't care about this match?
Why else?
Because we still don't know why Triple H chose Kevin Owens. We still don't know why Triple H abandoned Seth Rollins. And really, at the end of the day, until we find those things out, I have no reason to be invested in either one of them.
And that makes all the sense in the world to me. And that's probably the most legitimate criticism of this program, is we still don't know the central question, why Triple H, why? Which is really weird because he's not even one of the primary combatants in this situation. But yeah, he was the whole catalyst. Like, he pedigreed Seth Rollins, gave Kevin Owens the win.
He manages to make himself the center of attention even when he's not on television. Good Lord, the ego on this man. I am impressed.
I know. It's amazing. I am in awe about how this man, his center of gravity is just so strong, nothing else can get by.
Let me just tell you a story, John. This son of a bitch managed to manipulate the audience into actually wanting to see him win a 14th world championship this year.
Yeah. Oh, man. I know Emma says it's all about her, which is, totally true. But I'm just wondering if Triple H is like, no, you're wrong. It's all about me. So, yeah, I don't.
I wonder if Sasha's been taking lessons.
Maybe. So anything else you want to say about this main event or Clash of Champions on the whole?
Clash of Champions is the whole.
But certainly not in one, because it's probably going to be very poor, potentially. I'm already thinking, if this preview predictions is anything to go by, which I'm not saying it is, we could come out saying, man, that...
You're prophetic.
Yeah, I mean, probably. We're already going to be saying, yeah, this is a strong...
Let's not forget that when everyone else was super excited about WrestleMania 32 because Shane and Undertaker and Brock and Dean and all this stuff, and oh my God, AJ Styles, we were the ones that were bringing everyone down to earth, pointing out that Shane McMahon is not something to get excited about in a WWE ring, and that he's not going to win, and all this stuff. And everyone was saying, no, you guys are just cynical. You don't know what you're talking about. And who ended up being
right? We did get a point on the scoreboard that night. You know what I'm really hoping from this show? I am hoping Rusev retains, because I want to go full Johnny Scumbag and just scream at Roman over and over again, he failed. Like, I love doing that now with people that I really like. I either hate them or I hate their booking. And, like, because I've seen people, like, at Backlash, like, they were imitating me saying, like, you fail! Just, like, doing all that. So that's kind of become a thing. I want to do it to Roman. I want to put my fucking back into it. Of course, though, that satisfaction can consider itself denied. So, yeah. That's Clash of Champions. I'm already predicting we're going to give... Here's a good prediction for you. I'm predicting we're going to give this a strong skip it at the end of the night. If this preview predictions is a barometer for anything. Because really, where is the hope?
You remember that old childhood toy, the thing that was actually called the Skip It, where you put the little hoop around your ankle and you spin it around, and every time it got around to your other foot, you had to jump, so you were kind of like running in place, and that's kind of all it was.
No, I was not aware of that, but that sounds quite amusing.
Yeah, it was more entertaining than this show's going to be.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
And that was literally a skip it, but this show is going to be a different kind of skip it.
Look at you with the word work. But yeah, That's it for me. I've got nothing else to say about Clash of Champions. I just want to go and eat my feelings now because, I mean, really, what else is there to do when you just raise all optimism
How do
to
your
the ground?
feelings taste, John? I'm curious.
Let's see. A bit salty. Actually, a lot salty. Definitely very bitter. Yeah, that's that's pretty much just just a tinge of sour, and
any self-loathing.
Oh, there's like at least 2 dollops of self-loathing. I mean that is strong.
Oh man, 2 dollops. Wow.
Yeah, that's big fucking scoops there. So
self-loathing. I've been on Daisy the whole time, but now I have something else to try dollops of.
I gotta say too, I think we made preview predictions history. Because I think I actually came into the show with more anticipation than what I'm leaving with.
That's new.
Because I went in anticipating this at about a 5 or a 6. I think this like collective discussion has taken me down to like a 3 to a 4, maybe a 2 to a 3. It's pretty dire. So this show even managed to kill my hype to a degree. Oh man. All right, well, that's the most optimistic sentiment I could end out on. So is there anything else you want to say?
It's funny that you kind of got brought down. What would you say is your final, before we close out, what is your final scale of 1 to 10? How much are you looking forward to the show?
Again, now after this, I'd say
after this, yes,
a 2 to a 3.
It's funny because now I'm up to like a 5.
Oh my! So you literally are like, no, John, here are the facts, and you suck the life.
No, you don't understand. You don't understand. I'm not actually looking forward to watching Clash of Champions. I'm looking forward to live reacting to it because this is going to be the most fun we have reacting to a show since that one TNA pay-per-view where we were literally just laughing like a couple of high stoners that don't have a goddamn clue what's going on. Because this is going to be hilariously bad.
Yeah, and I'm honestly, because I'll tell you what, when a show is looking like it's going to be this bad, I just can't wait to see what all of our Twitwell fans are saying, like, while we're just torching it to the fucking ground. Like, I just think it's going to be a really great get-together all around, hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are going to be there on Sunday, right? You're all going to be in chat, chatting it up, talking about how awful the show is, talking about how dumb the decisions they make are, how, hilarious it is that we're going to get Sheamus versus Roman Reigns for the next 3 or, 6 or, I don't know, 9 months.
Are you not entertained? Oh.
Sheamus is the most meta motherfucker on the planet.
He knows, dude. He is phoning that shit in so hard.
He's phoning it in worse than 2013 Jericho.
All right, man. Any closing sentiments you want to express?
Remember 2013 Jericho, John?
Wasn't that? No, that would be too. I think that was still more recent. I want to say 2013 Jericho was really like that dad-ass Jericho that was making those references that flew over everybody's head.
Yeah, and he was like a babyface, but we were incredibly bored by him, and he was phoning in his matches, and he was boring, and he got replaced by RVD, and like his last match on that run was against RVD in RVD's first match back to WWE. Do you remember this?
Okay, yeah, it's starting to come together. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what Sheamus is doing. That's what Alberto Del Rio's been doing for the last 5 months, and he's only been back with the company for like 9.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, we'll see, man.
So, I mean, the acronym for this show is COC, and you might as well add a K on the end because that's what this show's going to be.
Oh my God, I can't top that. On that, I got nothing else to say. You can take us home, brother.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to close this out on that note. Not a better note could possibly happen. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, and by the way, Ben Jr., we didn't actually record our reactions to it. We were just watching it, and it was hilariously bad. And it was kind of a legendary TNA pay-per-view, too, because it was the one where the dude was getting the other dude up for a power bomb, and his feet were supposed to kick the ref in the face, but he missed by like 3 feet, and the ref still sold it like he just got kicked in the face and took a bump. It was just hilariously bad. That whole show was awful, and TNA hasn't really gotten that much better since then, even though everyone talks about how it does. But that doesn't matter anymore. What does matter is that we will be back on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for live reactions to Clash of Champions. And we will see you then. So be sure to stay tuned. To us, not them.